Okay, there we go. Greetings and blessed love, everyone. Welcome to another Poets After the Storm. I'm Jamaica Green, along with the beautiful and brilliant.
That's so much pressure.
Pressure!
I'm Jennifer Craig, also known as Redefining Freedom, and we are honored to be able to come here every month to do this monthly fundraiser. We decided to establish this back in November after Hurricane Melissa hit Jamaica, and we know that a lot of times once something happens that's as big as that or a natural disaster, then at first people are really tuned in and they're checking to see what's happening and they're really interested and invested. And then after some time, the news cycle changes, the interest changes, and people kind of fall away. We want to make sure it never becomes a distant memory because there are still people that are fighting to recover from the storm and from the effects of the storm.
Oh,
So
yeah, definitely.
yeah, so Jamaica and I both wanted to create a platform where we can use our artistic ability. And one of the art forms that we both love, but that is also very healing, that is nurturing. We're very serious about our responsibility with this platform. So we just want to bring you some encouragement, some enlightenment, some poetry every month. And this month is National Poetry Writing Month.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I like to do during April is they challenge themselves to write a poem every day. So
Mm-hmm.
for the days of the month, poets all over the world challenge themselves to write a poem each day. Um, Jamaica, you're participating in that, right?
Yes, I am, and I must say I missed a couple of days, and I was thinking tomorrow during writing I would just catch up on the days that I missed. And so, with that said, Kimberly also hosts each month write in where we get together and we just write. There are prompts, and for 2 hours we write and we share if we want to, but it's also very healing and therapeutic. So we can give you the information if you're interested. Just send us
Yeah.
a message. Yeah,
Well, I'll drop it in the chat at some
yeah,
point
please
in the
do.
program. That. And there's
Please do.
also a for the monthly challenge for the National Poetry Writing Month challenge. I've created 30 prompts, one for each day of
Mhm.
the month. So anybody that would like access to that, I will drop a link in the chat so that you can have access to that as well. So on to the business that we are here for. I am always excited about the talented artists that we have that come to share with us.
Yay. I was wondering where my Yaya was. I'm like, hey, someone is missing, you know? The wisdom, the wise eye, the wise mind. And she's right on time.
And for permission for us to be able to start in the tradition of our people, our ancestors, and our culture. So, Maya, I'm going to go ahead and bring you to the stage. Is that okay?
Very good.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead.
Properly to see you people properly.
Hi,
My
Maya.
Yaya. It's
Yellow,
always a
yellow,
joy.
yellow.
Always a joy. Always a joy. Yeah, my
Always.
And
Yaya.
see me too, likewise. Always a joy seeing the eye them.
Yes, I. So with you coming on stage right at the same time that Kim was asking for the permission, do we have permission to start the program?
Sure, sure, yes. I permit
Ashe,
you to start the program.
Ashe, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome.
While you are here, we're going to go ahead and give you the floor and let you give grace the stage with some of your poetry. And also, feel free to tell us a little bit about your journey in poetry and what poetry has meant to you, how it role in your life. So we're going to go ahead and step off the stage, and it's all yours.
Okay. Greetings, one and all. Love in the house of I. I give thanks for this another day within our togetherness, and I hope it will be a moment of joy, comfort, satisfaction to all who is listening, and a moment of learning, because you know we are all teachers and students. Yes. So as Sister Kimberly says, she like a little history on how I come to be writing poem and my poet journey and all of that. Well, you know, this thing just creep upon me. It wasn't something that I had in mind. It wasn't something I was planning of. It just creep up one day. I was sitting in my yard and not too long finished eating too, and I remember that was in the 70s, maybe about 73, 74, somewhere there, so but I know it was in the early 70s. And I was sitting down relaxing, and this feelings just come, and it's like I hear myself just saying these few words, you know, and when we finish say it, it sounds like a poem, and we say it over again. It was a very short poem. My first poem was a very short poem, so I can say it, and I call it the new wine. And I said, why stand afar off and wrought, black sons and daughters of Zion? Step in, and I sieve the new wine. And I, son and daughters of Zion, as I sieve a sip, which is Islaful. Step in and sip from the cup, for it's the iris of this wine that put I and I in higher iris. Then you will over why I and I sound so new. For you will first have to you will first have to take a sip of this wine to overstand the iris of its dignity. And in them time they, you know, we put a whole heap of I to the first letter in a whole lot of words, putting it to represent the I within I. You see? So that was how my first poem went. And then it just started to come normally. It don't have any special time to come. It come at any time, that feelings, it may come off of a feelings or something I see or hear, or, you know, it never have a direct time to come. So tell all, one at the time I started to even walk with a little bag over my shoulder and my pencil and my book in it, because this energy, this vibes would just flow without I thinking of it. It just come, and I just take up my book and I just write. And sometimes I can't believe say even me write these things, because it is just a thing of flow through me, and you know, I'm just pay attention and listen. Yeah, that was how my poem then started to come, and even till now, that's how my poem then come to me. It's not like me have to sit down for days and meditate about it or nothing. It just happened. That's it.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Let me just add myself here. Um, were there anyone that influenced you, or you just took up the pen, like you said one day, and just said, these words are flowing? Did you know about poetry? You know, was poetry a part of your world, or was it just something, just
It
a
just
gift that
happened. It was not. It was not. I love to read, but I didn't read poetry much because most of the poetry then where I see it, I talk about thy, thou, this, and thy. And I mean, I say,
yeah,
what that? Me don't
how about
understand
that?
them. Them things they always put me off,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Them things they always put me off. I think I must say Shakespeare poem them me used to see one time. And
Okay, okay.
and I couldn't follow it because as the thy, thee, thou, this, that, and them things they come up, it just lick me up. Me not interested again. Cause it's like
Yeah,
me don't really know where it reach now, you
yeah.
know. So me never really is not a person that had that in mind. It just grow on me, you know. It just grow on me.
I'm really glad you said that because um, so many times people think that poetry is supposed to sound a certain way or look a
Mhm.
certain way. A lot of people assume that poetry is supposed to rhyme. They automatically assign poetry to things like William Shakespeare and think that that's the only way that poetry can sound. But there are different meters to poetry, there are different patterns to poetry, there are different forms of poetry. So
True,
I'm really
true,
glad that people need to know it doesn't
Yeah.
have to look or sound like anybody else's.
true,
And
true,
truthfully, our poetry comes from the griots, who were the storytellers in Africa. And there are times when they would, talk with the drums. Their poetry was the drums, and
true,
it had it
true.
it, it
Because
transcended language
yes,
and
yes,
learning. Yeah,
because it is really a vibration within sound, you know? It is a vibration within sound. So, and that sound exists in many different ways, tone and vibration and everything, vibes and everything, you know? It not just, connect we don't say limited way. It have its own way. True.
yes, Maya. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. And would you mind sharing a couple more pieces with us?
Yes, I'm here for that. And I would like to, right now we're going up into the celebration of the 60th anniversary of His Majesty visit to Jamaica. And that is what are the highlight right now amongst even, say, Rastafarians, because yeah, everything I go right there, I flow right there. So we know we have some big concert and thing, and you know, it is a heat now in the vibration of the floor, you know. Yes, so yes, a time like this, I have a poem here, and I call this poem a gift because this is what this poem is for me and mean to me, a gift. It's called a sample, not a sermon. A sample, not a sermon. I'd rather see a sermon than hear one any day. I'd rather someone would walk with me than merely tell the way. The eye is a better pupil and more willing than the ears. Um, Fine counsel is confusing, but example always clear. The best of all the preachers are the one who lives their creed. For to see good put in action is what everyone need. I soon can learn to do it if you let me see it done. I can watch your hand in action, but your tongue too fast may run. The lecture you deliver may be very wise and true, but I'd rather get my lesson by observing what you do. I may misunderstand the high advice you give, but there is no misunderstanding how you act and how you live. When I see a deed of kindness, I'm eager to be kind. When a weaker brother stumble and a strong man stay behind just to see if he can help him, then that wish grows strong in me to become as big and thoughtful as I know that friends to be. All travelers can witness that the best of guides today are not the one who tell them, but the one who shows the way. One good man teaches. Many men believe what they behold. One deed of kindness notice is worth 40 that are told. Who stand with men of honor, learn to hold his or her honor dear. For right living speaks a language which to everyone is clear. Though an able speaker may charm me with his eloquence, I say, I'll rather see a sermon than hear one any day. That's the one, a sample, not a sermon. This other poem is called A Womb His Only Balance. Anything we try to fight against Mother Earth have to be an alien. Let I say that again. Anything we try to fight against what Mother Earth have an alien. Thank you. That's it. The womb is the balance of all that there is. His Imperial Majesty only needed one womb for his identity and one womb to differentiate his balance. A mother and a helpmate is all he needed. All the titles that are added to him had to wait on his birth and growth of his person from the womb. A woman is capable of regenerating herself and making herself with a difference called man, with a penis and scrotum that she doesn't have. She gave to him so that he can fulfill her needs and not be lonely in her space. For when he is not in her likeness and her space called nature, where is his? His Imperial Majesty knows she is the first flesh he eat from, the first crown of being, and that's why he said he is earth defender, the void of her being and awareness of his first taste, his first feelings, his first smell, his first seeing, her first comfort. Clearly, no man can fulfill these needs. For all she is, for all that is added unto him come after his birth, the creation of a woman. He only needed 2 wombs to satisfy his comfort here on earth, a mother and a mate, the balance of love for him, our earthly being. So take some time to consider the value of a woman, her earth, her heart, the one and the same he shared and called them his love, his heaven, his paradise. Thank you.
Amazing as usual.
Yes.
He only 2 wounds.
I'm not hearing you so good.
My computer is acting funny. Can you hear me better now?
Yes,
Yes.
I can.
I love that. He only needs 2 wombs in his lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, ma'am. I don't
Mm-hmm.
see no other way.
And so for the men out there that think that, a woman is what do they call it? HOE, HO3 or whatever, and that's all a woman
Mhm.
is good for. Just
And
take
yet she couldn't be that without a man. So who is
exactly
he?
who is he. So take comfort in knowing that this is the first place you ate from. This is the first comfort you knew. This is your first teacher. Yeah,
The
man.
first taste,
First
everything. He
teacher.
only needed 2 wounds.
It's beautiful, beautiful, my Yaya.
Yes,
Can't wait to
yes.
read your anthology. I tell you, I'm looking forward to reading your book. Very great. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So if you need me to go and say some more, I have them, but I don't
Well,
think
we
I think you
go
have
ahead.
a portion of one-on-one.
Yeah, we do. Well, we are going to ask you to stay and to come back up as necessary. Yeah, man, you're here
Yes.
and you're welcome. Welcome.
Okay. Thank you. More
Thank you.
strength.
Yeah, man. Always my Yaya.
Always.
Wow, Kim, my Yaya always comes with it. She always brings some jewels.
Unapologetic, absolutely. Everything.
Unapologetic. Yes, yes. So that's my Yaya nature, everyone. If you're interested, she's working on a book of poetry, and I'm telling you, it's going to be fire, but also a lot of tidbits, a lot of proverbs that will definitely help you in your walk and your journey in life. My Yaya nature. Huh? So I think now, because, even though we're loving this, what we're doing and the poetry, the reason that this was formed, Poets After the Storm, was to bring awareness to the people who are in need after Melissa devastated the island of Jamaica. And so each month we feature someone who is in need. And I know, Kim, I know that you were working on a video. Is it Ruth's video that we're showing this month?
Yes, because we had it last month, but we didn't get the chance to really put it together and give it time.
Yeah.
So I have it prepared for us to look at this month. So I'm going to go ahead and show it.
Yes, please. Thank you. So this is Ruth Cousins.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ruth Thomas. I just want to thank you for reaching out in support to contribute to my building project here in Jamaica. I am in need of cement, steel, block, and gravel. Any other contribution will be appreciated. Thank you very much for taking the time out to reaching out to me.
So this is why we're doing it, in all seriousness. There are people who don't even know where to start right now, still, 5 months after Melissa, still don't know where to start, because like with Ruth, she's going to need the whole gambit again. That was a room that she was building, and she said this was the second storm that came and devastated. So now she's looking to do it, more with a better foundation, with some concrete and steel, and we're just appealing, sorry, to everyone. If you can give, nothing is too small. Um, and also a shout out to Eugenia over there in Germany. I know that we had done a show at the beginning of this whole endeavor called Jamming for Jamaica, and we were able to raise a couple of $100, and we were able to, do some giving then. But eventually, they did a concert a couple of weeks ago, and they were able to raise some more funds. So we split it up with three families, and I tell you, it's as if they received millions of dollars instead of 150 or $200. So again, every bit helps. Yeah, Maya, every bit helps. And so again, thank you to everyone who is taking the time to watch the program, to share it, and also donating if you can. Yeah. So, any comments, Kim?
And the few, because we've been able to help quite a few people from this
Yes.
platform,
Yes.
and every little bit has been so appreciated. Um, I have some people that I really love here in the U.S. that have donated and have been able to contribute somewhere around about $1,000 earlier on. So, I mean, we've had the funds and the resources. We've been blessed with the resources to be able to send some money and some things to some people to be able to assist them. And like Jamaica said, there are people that are still very much in need. There are people who were living in shelters in Jamaica, and when the shelters closed, they had no definitive place to go. There are people who, women and children in particular. I mean, I will always speak on behalf of women and children and our safety
That's right.
and our protection. And there is a lot of danger that has come to a lot of women and children who have been vulnerable because they don't have a home to live in. So they have been preyed on. There are people who have been violated. There are atrocities that have been enacted against women and children. So we really want to be able to make sure that we are collecting money and collecting resources and getting it into the hands of everyday people. And that doesn't mean that the government in Jamaica isn't helping. They're doing what they're doing, and that's fine. But we know that there are everyday people, normal people, who will never fund from some of the governmental projects, that will never see resources from some of those spaces. And we want to make sure that we are remembering the real lived experiences of everyday people who deserve to be taken care of and deserve
Right.
to have resources and some assistance as well.
Right.
So that's behind this whole effort. And you
I
can
kind
see
of
at the bottom of the screen to be able to give. Go ahead, Jamaica. What were you going to say?
I was kind of side eyeing you when you said the government is doing what they can, because I must tell you that three of the people,
I didn't say
yeah,
they're doing what they can. There's a difference
okay,
doing.
because three of the people that we connected with and were able to, send some funds to, have said that they have been on the waiting list for whatever resources were there for the people who were affected. And one person in particular said she has gone several times, has not been able to see the counselor, and has not gotten a call. With all of the calls that they're making, there's no one to answer the calls. And so I'm saying if they're waiting for the government, they're going to be waiting for a long time. And that's sad to say, but that is the truth, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
we have to
And
do what we can.
that
Yeah.
was the
And
case.
we're making, sorry, go ahead.
So that was the case before the storm, and that's
Right.
why we are being very aware of making sure that we're gathering resources and trying to get them into the hands of people, because
Yes.
the way that systems are set up, there are particular ways that people have to go about getting access to certain resources. And we had a conversation about the people whose IDs were destroyed, their
Yeah.
paperwork destroyed, the kinds of documents that you need to be able to get access to a lot of the resources that are
Yes.
available. So government is doing what it's doing, and that's fine.
Right.
I believe that change happens as each one of us as individuals does everything that we are able to do, because I believe that we are responsible and interdependent, and we are supposed to take care of each other. So we're on
That's
this
right.
journey to be able to gather resources and to talk to and touch and interact with everyday people and make sure that people's needs are met as best we can.
Yes. And
Yeah.
that's what we're here to do. So, are we going to introduce Antonia? I have to run and get my charger because my computer's about to die. Give me a moment.
Okay. Yes, I would be happy to introduce Antonia. So I met this I met this amazing poet. It's been, you realize it's been 10 years since I met you. So it's been 10 years. I met Antonia in 2016. I had performed at the National Poetry Festival of Jamaica, and just interacting with the poets and in the artistic community, I met Antonia. So Antonia Valaire, an award-winning spoken word artist, an author, podcaster, and advocate for social justice, author of Pearls Among Stones. I'm going to go ahead and bring her up to the stage, and I'm going to put her on the spot real quick as I do this because we need Antonia. For being here. Thank you.
Blessings, blessings.
I would love if is Pearls Among Stones still available for people to purchase.
I mean, it's on Amazon for those who are not in Jamaica because it's in bookstores here, but you can get it on Amazon and bookstores. So glad if
Okay.
people support. Give thanks.
Yes. And I'm gonna pull up the link and put it in the
Yes,
chat so people have that information for Pearls
thank you.
Among Stones. Yes.
Yes, no problem. I'm also currently working on a children's book. It's not finished yet. It's almost finished. It's my first, that and I just want to big up Wayne Carnegie because he's illustrator and it's just an honor to be working with him. He lives in Canada, but he's also a Jamaican and he's from Clarendon. So big him up. I just want to big up, Kimberly, Jamaica Green, Maya Nature. I just want to big her up. It's always a pleasure to see her. I haven't seen her physically for a while now, but it's an honor to be on the platform with her. And I just said, Kim, I don't even remember say it was 2016. I know it's been a while. It was a pleasure to meet you at the time. And I was so moved by your poems that my mom and I had to, had a word with you. And from then on, the link has always been strong. So thank you for inviting me. And it's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely.
Um,
I'm excited to hear you. So I'm gonna go ahead and get off the stage. The platform is yours.
Thank you. So the first piece that I want to share is a very short piece. I haven't published it or anything, so it's new. So probably it won't editing, but I just want to share it. And it's titled In Honor of Earth. We have not always been kind to you. I apologize for rudeness in your home. It is taking us a long time to appreciate your beauty and quality. We have taken you for granted. We have used you up and spit on your art. I hope it's not too late to take care of you. One step at a time, one day at a time. Many have woken up to preserve you. They have taken steps against the all to love your green energy, preserve your blue economy. They have spoken up and lived their talks and even walked their walk. No hypocrisy in their game. I hope you can continue to forgive these stewards who have forgotten God's command. I want to say that there is many who loves you and know you're keeping us alive. And we want to show you our gratitude by doing our part. And I hope it inspires others to do the same. That is in honor of Earth. Another Earth piece. This one is titled Earth is a Nice Place to Be. I hope I can become one of the persons that make the world a nice place to be. It will not always be sunny, sometimes a few droplets of rain, a bit of muck and mess, sometimes chaos ensues, but peace reigns supreme. In some bubble wrap is their reality, whatever they envision on their world to be. While I may have some thoughts, it is still a beautiful sight to behold. Multi-perspective and dimension still form the whole. I want to be amongst the persons who makes the world a nice place to be. Filled with all of me, very simple but complex too. Various sides of me in various photoshots, with all my smiles, cries, and humor. In essence, the beauty in and out. With all my human qualities, I hope I can be one of the persons who make the world a nice place to be. So that's just two poems that I wanted to share. Those are two poems that are unpublished and is basically nature and earth because I love nature. My mom she's a nature person, you know, she have a garden and things. So I'm inspired by her when I see her in her garden and you know those things just fill you up because inspiration is all around. Now, in regards to when I began writing poetry, I started writing poetry as a child, right? Very early age. And I started writing was because I was shy. I was a shy child, and there was so much things going, you know, in my community, in my life as a child, and I didn't know how to express myself. So, and the only thing I could afford was, you know, pen, pencil, and paper. And I began writing. And at first, I started writing songs. I think I was writing songs because music is something that you always hear in Jamaica. Jamaica is such a musical country. So after some time, I shared my poem with someone and they said, this seemed more like poetry. And then I was like, I didn't fully like know like what's poetry, you know, like oh it's festy and stuff like that, because I was never like, you know, taught or anything like that. But I used to hear on the radio, beside my next door neighbor, um, poems from DYCR and Muta Baruka. So that's when I was kind of introduced to poetry, and that's when, you know, I started writing. And because I also had many books, my mom used to get books from her cousins, you know, they're away, and we couldn't afford books, but they had many books from all, you know, age range, and I used to read all of them. And not long after, I started reading like Maya Angelou, and I was deeply inspired by Maya Angelou. I read Langston Hughes, Emily Dixon. I hear Maya talk about the poems, them, you know, basically from the English. Yeah, I can understand them, though, art and stuff like that. But funny enough, you know, so I liked William Wordsworth. Yes, I did like William's Wordsworth. Yeah, so he was one of those few English poems that I actually like. But yeah, that's where I got my start. And from there on, I've been writing. And by the time I was around 15, I'd written a poem called Survival. And then by the age of 17, I went on to win a community competition. You know, I went and performed it and won it. And then I was encouraged by, you know, the community and stuff like that. And then by the time age 19, there's a cleaner company in Jamaica. It's a newspaper company. And, you know, I sent in my poem and it got selected. And from there on, the journey continues till I end up with something called the Prime Minister National Youth Award. That's my book, Pearls Among Stones. And then, you know, went on to be nominated for IRAMA International Reggae and World Music Awards and stuff like that, basically.
Thank you so much. Do you have any advice for any youth? Because I know you started this journey with poetry very young,
Yeah.
and you were on some stages in Jamaica and in some spaces in Jamaica as a child. So, do you have any advice for any children who have a love for words or a love for poetry, and what you would recommend? What kind of paths should they take? What are some of the resources available? What would you recommend?
I mean, that's so interesting. You know why it's interesting that question that I asked? Because I didn't necessarily have anyone in my community to
Right.
mentor me, basically. I didn't know of any poets in my community. If
Yep.
there was any, I didn't know. So that's interesting because what if that child doesn't have any person? So only person they can lean on is probably their parents, probably the
Hmm.
schools. Like most schools do have like clubs that they can join, and if they are aware of other clubs outside of their schools, they could probably join that. But we know for most, JCDC is the place that you go and showcase your talent, and you might find someone there who can mentor you. So that would be our advice for a young person. Of course, reading, you can never go wrong. Read as many books as possible. If you do find someone to mentor you, that would be good. You can always write and they advise you further, in terms of your mistakes, your language, your grammar, so stuff like that. What I would say though is that don't be afraid. Because I say I was shy and I used to keep my work to myself. I never used to read it to anyone. And I just want to
Yeah.
give props to my mom because she saw me writing all this time. And one day she gave my work to a church sister. And that lady's a big lady, and I saw her crying, and I didn't even know how to react. I was just standing there. Only my mom could like console her. But at the time I was a child, so I was like, why is this lady crying over my poems? And that was also a turning point for me as a child. I was like, I wonder if this poem that I write
Mm.
is not just for me alone. Maybe someone else, like, people can relate. And that's when I started stop just writing for me and started writing for other people, start looking around in my community and started realizing that a lot of people are suffering and there's a lot of
Yeah.
inspiration. So I would encourage reading, writing, sharing. That would be it.
That's great advice. That's really, really good advice. I know that a lot of times in poetry in particular, people write about things that impact them. A lot of
Mm,
times it's heavy because
yeah,
people write about traumatic
yeah.
experiences that really impact them. And I think that it is valuable for young people in particular to know that whatever experience you've had that may have been difficult, heavy, traumatic,
Mm.
it's not an isolated incident. There are other people who have similar experiences, and once you share your experience, you'd be surprised how quickly you find community.
So true. Currently, we have been touring Jamaica in the schools. I don't know if you know about the Jamaica nomadic schools. And
Hmm.
it's very interesting to see the students when they share. And I'm telling you, their topics are heavy. Their topics,
Yes.
they're talking about suicide at those early
Yes.
stages, the high school. They're talking about trauma. They're talking about bullying. And, I'm like, wow, these young people are going through a lot, and I can
Yeah.
relate because when I was a young person, unfortunately, my father left my mom with four children on the floor, left our house empty, and our house was going on auction. So there was no light,
Hmm.
there was no water. That was something that I experienced, and
Yeah.
and so that's one of the reasons why that led for me to start writing. And as I say, I was shy, so I didn't know to express myself to adults and whoever,
Hmm.
and I just felt like I needed to keep that to myself. And so I began writing poems. But as thank God my mom saw that I was writing, and she took up my book and started reading and started sharing with others. And at first I was offended because I was like, to me it
Yeah.
was private, and I was like,
Yeah.
why are you sharing my private thoughts? But then later I understood that even though it's private thoughts, other people could relate, and that's when
Yes.
things really open up for me, and that's when I started seeing people and seeing that they have a lot of pain as well. And so I'm so happy, like today, that I can even speak right now on camera. I
Hmm.
can speak on stage, and even though I can speak on stage, of course it's still nerve-wracking because when
Yeah.
you're behind the scenes and you're ready, and then you see all those eyes looking at you. But I mean, when you're on stage, it's very liberating. And when people read, when you come off and people say, "Wow, I can relate to that poem," you
Hmm.
start to be like,
Hmm.
"Wow, you're really making a difference. Your poem is not just a bunch of words. They do really mean
Yeah.
something to other people, and they can inspire a nation." So that's kind of my
Yes.
mission. I hope that I can inspire people for better and greater, you know.
Yes.
Yes,
When
and
is your children's book of poetry coming out?
Repeat.
When is your children's book of poetry
Oh,
coming
so
out?
we're kind of in the last stage right now because we're doing illustrations. So the story is written, everything, and we are kind of near to the end. So probably in May, I would say. Also, this is my birth month. Just want to say April 21st will be my birthday. So give thanks.
well,
Can't
happy
wait to
birthday
Happy
read
in
early
advance.
birthday.
And I've been wanting to jump in like double dutch, but I didn't want to, just spoil the flow. But again, I
Yeah,
do want to thank you for agreeing to come on and sharing your
yeah,
story and sharing your poetry,
yeah,
so that other
Mhm.
people can, have an example to look up to. But I
yeah,
also wanted to say that when you sent me the illustration of the children's book, I started cheering because I thought it was already. I was just so happy to see more work from you because
yeah,
I saw you as a youth, as a teen, coming up and doing
Yeah.
your poetry and representing Jamaica, and just being out there and being an inspiration to so many. And I just want to say thank
Mhm.
you for being here and for being the youngest poet in the group tonight and just sharing such amazing works.
thank
All
you.
Mhm.
right.
Thank you for
So we are
having
gonna
me.
ask you to come back later. Don't go no place.
No,
Come
no,
back
no,
and
I'll be here.
you know. So thank you again for just being here and being a part of Poets After the Storm and just making a difference in the life of so many people. We
Yeah.
might only have one viewer right now, but I tell you, this is going many, many places.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
again, thank you so much and stay with us. Yeah. So
It
Kim,
is.
again,
Yeah.
we have awesome poets and coming out of Jamaica, we had the eldest, my Yaya, and then the youngest,
Mhm.
and both come with, life experiences that can make a difference. And I'm just so grateful that we have them here. So who do we have next? Because I know we have Carrie Grace and we have Summer in the background.
Yes. Next, we have Carrie Grace. And a little bit about Carrie Grace. She's been on local radio for the last 14 years, is a community activist, national parent leader and advocate, and a nonprofit consultant. So she also said she is the giver and receiver of grace. That's beautiful.
Okay.
So we
Well, she
want,
don't say enough. She don't say enough. Me gonna tell her. I met this woman about 30 years ago when we were young and poetry. I mean, everything that we did was poetry. My girl, if we stub we
mm,
toe, girl, I stubbed my toe, won my tree. And we made music and we made laughter, we made love out of poetry. And so I went to New York and we were doing a hip hop poetry venue every Monday. And she walked in and she had her hair wrapped and she was just tall and slim. And she came out and she did her work. And I was like, whoa, I have to know this woman. The next time I saw her, she had her head, she was bald headed, like her head was shaved, like, and she came up with this aura, And again, I was like, who is this queen? Eventually, we connected through a mutual poet and friend, and it's been poetry, music, you know, love, family ever since. So I wanted to let you know, Carrie Grace, that I am so grateful that you are returning to the poetry stage, and this is the venue, this is the forum that you're taking. So welcome, my girl. Bring her on, Carrie Grace. Greetings. I don't know if you know you're mute. Let me see if I can unmute you. You're mute. We could hear you.
How's that? Can you hear me?
Perfect.
that's good.
Perfect.
Great.
Yes.
Greetings, everyone. Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. This is my return to the poetry stage. The first any kind of poetry I've done in many, many years was a couple weeks ago with you guys, you ladies, Kim, and your prompts and your write in. And so I just want to thank you for that platform because Sister Jamaica has been telling me about it for years. And well, the year that you've been doing it. And she's always like every month. Actually, no, it is years, isn't it? Like 2 years
It
now.
is.
It is.
It
Okay,
is.
because I remember when she started telling me. And I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
no, yeah,
Yeah.
no, I'm very resistant to a lot of things sometimes just because I'm in my own head and I feel like
Uh-huh.
it should be this way. But then I see her growth, I see her advancement, I see her healing, and she touts your group. And she was like, hey, I was just wondering. And I feel like at this point, there's so much bubbling up around me and now in me. And so it was perfect timing, perfect timing. And so
Hmm.
thank you for hosting that space and for just sometimes, you know, we don't know what it's going to look like. But I encourage
Yeah.
everyone that if you are not sure or if you have like a something in you and you're not sure what it is and you want to get it out, it's a perfect space to even just start to practice and
Thank you
test the
so
water.
much.
Yeah, definitely. So I have
So,
one poem, one, and um, I'm gonna partially read it. I was trying to memorize it. However, I have been thinking about my mother lately, my family. So I am the youngest of five, and you know I found out about a few of them after the fact, right? But I'm the youngest of five. Both of my parents have transitioned. Love to my mother and father. On and my mom, she was an older woman when she had me. I don't think she'd mind me saying that because she was young in spirit, and I miss her terribly. And sometimes, you know, I plow through life and have to take a moment to stop and remember. And when things can get tough, those are the things that matter. Those are the things that come up and that can push us through. And so this is for my mom. Um, this is what I tell myself. I tell myself, let's go in my mama voice. That was my mother's voice. Let's go to get me going. She knew no one was coming to save me, not even her. Knowing she saved herself when her knight's armor fell. And when her shining king rose and rode up to whisk her off, she agreed not to get on his horse, but to fly. So I believe I can fly too. But when things get tough, I don't know. Well, I realized not too long ago, whatever she told me, what she never told me was that no one was coming. Or maybe she did tell me, just in that way, that Black West Indian woman way, the one that she gives her daughter advice in. You know, you have two strikes against you. One, you're black. Two, you're a woman. Somewhere I got it twisted. Somewhere I got offended. Life got upended and turned me upside down. I got lost and fell into a ditch and blamed myself for every time the going got rough. Blamed myself for every time I felt that I was no longer tough. So my skin got tougher, heart harder, voice angrier, tone louder, hands hard now calloused, and I am now looking at the sandpaper fingers, longing for the softer side. I am looking for the softer side of me, the one that longs for freedom, the desire to just be, almost like the gentle child I was. I feel like that's who I was meant to be, be, with just my mommy, my daddy, my family, and me. Thank you.
thank you so much for that.
Mhm.
So many thoughts came up as I was listening to you because I think I don't know if you realize just how many people's stories you have told in that one piece. And it's just pieces of it that belong to all of us. I think
Yeah.
probably everybody here can take a piece of what you just read and say, yeah, that's me. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that was beautiful, beautifully
Mm-hmm.
written, beautifully read, beautifully expressed. Thank you.
Thank you
Mm-hmm.
so
I
much.
like how she decided to fly instead of going on his horse, honey. I was like, "Go, mama."
She actually did fly. She took a plane. Yes. So thank
That
you
was
very
really
much.
brave. That
Thank
was
you.
really
Yeah.
brave.
Thank
Thank
you
you for
for
sharing.
I appreciate it. And I'm enjoying the show and my yaya. Thank you, because listening to my yaya gave me some courage. I am not gonna front. I sat back here probably, you know. So I do appreciate and beautiful Antonia. It's just wonderful, and I'm so happy to be here and listen and be a part of the space and feel a part of the space. So
Mm-hmm.
thank you.
Can
And
I
I
Yes.
ask
like,
you?
yeah,
I, can I ask you to share a little bit about how you came to poetry or how poetry came to you? I know that this is your revisiting and your re-entry into it, but I can tell that there is a rich history there. So can you just share a little bit about that?
sure. So as a child, I used to write and paint. I was probably like I started painting around 8, 9. And when I say painting, forgive me because I'm if a visual artist saw my work, they'd be like, really? But I'm an expressionist. So
Yes.
when I would feel a way or just want to express myself, I threw paint. And so I could not mess up my parents' walls. My family's from Guyana, very, very much do not do this. Do not
Uh-huh.
line my walls, so I put paper up on the walls and just and I had my own art gallery for years. And then I got
Hmm.
into writing because, as my mother said, I have a vivid imagination. I told one of my daughters that the other day. I said, you have a very vivid imagination. And so I would dream, and my dreams were very colorful, very tangible, very like I could almost feel them. Um, and I had to get them out. And even though I have a big family, I was the youngest, and so it's a 3 year gap between me and my brother, my older brother, and so that was like I had to play by myself, had no friends or very
Yeah.
limited friends, with my family had me in a bubble, and so I started to write, and I started to write my feelings, my thoughts, my this, my that, and first I was a teacher, and then I was an actress, and then I was on stage, and then as a young woman, I just like skipped a whole lot. But as a young girl and coming out of high school, in high school, I think I was really journaling heavy, but
Mm.
in a very, very secret way because my mother found my journal. Someone found my journal at school when I was a kid, and they went and told the teacher, and the teacher told the principal, and there was some things in there. I was in 7th grade, like, yeah, and then my parents got called, so my mother was like, "Stop writing, writing will get you in trouble."
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
they knew who they could tell. I know they could tell. Now I know they could tell there was going to be some things that I would write about, and
Uh-huh.
Jamaica could tell you I'm very when I say it, right? And so some of the things that I would say would probably get me in trouble as a child, as a teenager, as an adult, because those things do advance and amplify. And so um, I became an adult, and a friend of mine, Stacy Kennedy, I'll never forget her. I was in this place where I was no longer the kid that I was, the teenager, and I needed something different. And she invited me to this poetry spot called Sunday Tea Party. And shout out to
Mm.
Ian. Back in the day, back in Brooklyn, I'm from New York, and so we did the Sunday Tea Party. And I saw these people that were just like me, or I was just like them. And they were getting up talking about all this stuff that it was so taboo, or, so powerful, sort of lost poets, sort of like, just Gil Scott Heron, just, and it inspired me. And I started to write. My friend Lolo and I would sit on the phone. We were talking about this the other night, and we would just write. We wouldn't talk. We would just write and write and write. And we would read it. We'd read it to each other. And I was too scared to say it, but I would read it to each other. And then, one day I just was inspired to get up and speak. And I was never made to feel like what I was saying didn't matter. I was never made to feel like what I was saying didn't make sense or it was foolish. I was always made to feel like that it touched someone in some way. And I think that's what kept me going. And I promised I would never use my words to hurt. I'm not a slam poet. I that's not my thing. And at one point I did write something that was meant to cut someone down because they, offended me with their words. And after that, I kind of put the pen down for a long time. And so, so to revisit the art again is so freeing and forgiving. So that's the grace and the giver of grace and the receiver of grace. Like, just, I am not God, but we all have grace to give, and there's always space for grace. So,
yes. Thank you so much for sharing that. And just about the giver and receiver of grace, just so you know, my name is Kimberly Yvette, and my name means leader in need of grace. My father wanted to name me Kimberly Ann, which is leader who gives grace. So either way, grace was going to be somewhere, right? Either way, grace was going to be somewhere there in my name. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, I love that. Yes, there's a link there. There's a link there.
Yeah. I'm going to share something with you after. When you talk about your middle name, I'm definitely going to share some with you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a connection there too, I think.
Yes.
Well, just to jump in. I'm jumping in because Summer is here waiting. But I want to say that Kimberly, your prompts, I'm telling you, we doing it. At night, like Caroline is saying, midnight, gotta call Carol. I gotta call Caroline because we're writing.
Yeah.
And you inspired me. So you might think it's a small work that you're doing, but you're infecting and affecting the masses because there's no telling where Caroline's poetry is going to go.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you for facilitating and, making that space for us to just be ourselves. So we're going to invite you up a little bit later so we can have a round table vibration. Yes. But we are going to call Summer up because she's been waiting from like 5:35.
All right. Yes, Miss Summer. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you, ladies, for having me.
Thank you for being here.
And so before Summer comes on, I know you're going to introduce her because, please do. But again, this tree named Emma comes into play. Emma is a tree in Hartford in Bushnell that I used to go and practice my poetry, 30 plus years ago. And eventually I asked a friend, and that friend brought another friend. And every Thursday we would bring our drums and we would do poetry. And one day, I think it was Marcia who brought Summer, but she's going to tell us the rest of the story. But she came and changed the whole vibe, man. I mean, we had banana weed and it was just amazing and free and innocent. And again, for the love of words and poetry and sharing. It was never a person that came in and we'd be like, girl, but all that. No, it was always, we were open and willing and ready and eager to hear each other. So with all that said, I'm going to ask you to just bring her up in style. This is Summer Tate.
Okay, so Summer Tate is a poet and educator who teaches in Hartford, Connecticut. She has published in various literary journals and is an adjunct professor at Connecticut State Community Colleges. Summer holds a BA from Bay Path University and a master's in English education from University of Connecticut and an MFA in creative writing from Fairfield University. She is currently a PhD candidate. Come on, sis. In American literature at Howard University. Please welcome Summer Tate to the stage.
Yes, 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 yes. I bring her up. This is Summer Tate.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that introduction. Oh my gosh.
This bio is giving me life for real. I'm like, yes, and I love it. I absolutely love it.
Well, I dusted off my books. I'm like, okay, Carol, dust off the brain, because yes, Summer.
Listen, I have to say, thank you guys so much for inviting me. This is wonderful. I love hearing all the poetry. Being in an academic world right now, I don't get as much poetry and creative writing. Everything is, articles and journals and, very analytical. And so it's whenever I'm able to be in the space of creativity, I just walk in full hearted and just waiting for, to be poured in on. And that's really what this evening has done. So wonderful hearing everyone. I don't know if you want me to jump right into a little bit about my background. I don't remember the story, Jamaica. I don't remember who brought me.
I don't either. I think it was Marcia, but then I think you and Marcia came together because you were in a play, and someone was like, "Hey,
okay,
Jamaica's doing poetry at the tree."
On a play, yeah. Maybe too, I started so young. I've been doing poetry and on the stage. I want to say I stepped on the first stage when I was 15. And I was sneaking into clubs because I wasn't old enough to actually be in the club. My sister heart, Monique Jarvis, she used to run a poetry event, and that was the first time that I stepped on stage, and it was at City Steam, which used to be Brown Thompson in Hartford, Connecticut. Yes. And they had a poetry reading, and I had a little poem that I actually had written in Brown Thompson when I was 15. It's a sassy poem too. I was so grown. It goes, but there I was just sitting there when I glanced across the room, and there he was just sitting there when his eyes began to bloom. What a beautiful man I was seeing. How gorgeous he carried that cocoa skin and that broad face. The finest thing in this whole damn place. You can see I was sassy. 15 years old, right in 15, that. And that was 15, I was 15. I was grown. That was the first poem I ever did on stage. And I was just in Mississippi at a conference, and I recited the poem, and someone was like, "How do you remember that?" And I was like, it was the first poem that I ever got on stage with. And there's some things you just don't necessarily forget, right? I've also been teaching writing and poetry for many years to youth, because I know it saved my life. As a kid, I was a journaler. Like, I would write down, I would go on adventures. Really, I was a runaway. Let me talk about the journaling. I was a runaway as a kid, and I had a good girlfriend that I would run away with all the time, really a couple people. And I always kept a journal of like where we went, who we met. And this was back in the day where there was no cell phones to put phone numbers in, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would always have like who we met, where we met them, what with their phone numbers, just in case you ever needed to call somebody up from a payphone. Okay, it was that long ago. So I always was a collector of information. And one of the big ways that I write now is I do ekphrastic poetry. A lot of the poetry I write is inspired by photographs, archives, documents, and in part that's my...
What is that word? And can you explain it?
Archives?
No, the
ekphrastic.
Yeah, so ekphrastic poetry is poetry that is written and inspired by either like a piece of art or a photograph. So it's like, if, you know, even like you stand in front of Emma tree, right? And you write a poem about her, that's an ekphrastic poem because it is from an image that you originally had. So I get my inspiration a lot from the archives, and hence what I'm doing my PhD in, is about writing about, well, really it's the storytelling of the dispossessed and how we write our own stories from a place of dispossession, and how other people write our stories about us, which dispossesses us even more when other people write our stories. So that's kind of what I'm researching right now. My grandmother is from Maine, and she's from a small community. Her father was from a small community called Malaga Island, off the coast of Phippsburg, Maine. And in 1912, Maine's government evicted everyone off of the island. It dug up graves, institutionalized an entire family in the home of the feeble-minded, sterilized them. The youngest person who was institutionalized was 3 years old. He died inside of the institution at 19. Okay, so Maine, this is an atrocity, right? But this is a lot of what I write about, is that history. So my MFA was a poetic account of the history of my grandmother's father's family in Maine. And I don't know if that leads me into sharing a poem. It's one of the poems that
if that's where you want to go next, absolutely. And we can leave the stage and give you the space. This is amazing. Thank you for being here.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for having me. So my father is also from Jamaica, and I get caught in this whirlwind of islands. So this idea that my father is from Jamaica and my great-grandfather is from a little island off the coast of Maine. And this poem is called Marooned Between Fatherlands. Could there be a song in this mouth, sore from biting borrowed tongues? As language twirls into cyclones, which island has marooned me here? My father's hot smack of Jamaica sand, or my grandfather's cold, salty Maine shore? I resist the bird songs. They mock my single language, mistranslating me in trills and peeps. I wonder which land claimed their roots, which water drowned their branches, so they flower inside my lips, singing what I know only by voice, a certainty I cannot translate. So that poem is, really pulling this idea of the patriarchs within my life, and them both being from islands that they both had left, right? In one respect, my great-grandfather at the age of 6 was evicted from the island, and my father migrated to the United States in his teens, and just recently has passed away this summer in Jamaica. Now, I did not necessarily have a relationship with my father, and the one that I did was very traumatic. So but he really is a muse to a lot of my poetry. I'm going to do one other piece before you guys can jump back in. But this one, I love to write in haiku. It's quick, and especially when I teach the youth, they enjoy haiku as well, because I call it instant gratification. It's like the tweets, right? The 575, makes it consumable. Some people think they are difficult to write, and they can be, but I enjoy writing them, and I like to write them in sequence. So this poem is a sequence of haikus, and it's called Water Between Us. Morning, he was gone. I mowed the lawn, cut back limbs that blocked out the sun. My father is dead. I rake fallen branches down into the brown earth. Rain pools old footprints, ground remembers your weight still. My blood holds you too. Some fathers were boys left behind, pushed off from shore, never seen again. Water between us, crimson should be thicker here, salty like oceans. This is where you left me, somewhere past the bottom, to drown or to float. Your fatherhood shipwrecked me, a guppy drowning, snared inside your net. So he has been great inspiration, and I think this goes back to being able to write through the trauma, right? And this is why I think it's so important to really give young people the ability to write. I do also teach at Yale in the summer. I teach in their youth writing program. So this will be my third year teaching at Yale, where I teach young people. They're usually on the cusp of finishing up high school and going into college. And they write their stories because that is one of the ways really to kind of tap into sometimes memories that you forget, right? Trauma that has been trapped somewhere and just been kind of trying to find its way out some other kind of way, right? And sometimes not as productive, right? But yeah, that's a little bit of my stuff.
How rich. Thank you so much. Both of those pieces. I love how you used just the use of your story in both of those pieces. That first one, is that written anywhere or published anywhere? Because I want to put my eyes on it, because I heard some things that I just want to see it. I need to see it so I can sit with it. Because marooned between fatherland. Are you kidding me? And I wrote down in the private chat, I said, what a turn of phrase. I get caught in this whirlwind of island. Ugh.
Yes, and which brings me to Marcus Garvey, because Marcus Garvey said, "Look for me in the whirlwind," and don't you have a connection to Marcus Garvey? No, that was
my grandmother. My grandmother Ethel worked with Marcus Garvey. Yeah,
right.
That's my father's mother in Jamaica. Yeah,
right. So I knew that there was a connection. So when I heard the whirlwind, immediately I thought about Marcus Garvey saying, "Look for me in the whirlwind," coming to pick my children up and carry them home.
Right. The movement, right?
Yes.
Literally. These are all part of a manuscript that I am getting together. Hopefully it'll be published somewhere soon. I have so many kind of under my wing that I work with of different books that have not yet come out yet, but soon.
Yeah, you're brilliant.
This is amazing. I have a request. When you get ready to defend your dissertation, if there is the ability for people to sit in virtually, please share the link, because I want to be there. I want to be there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's gonna make me so nervous. I'm gonna be like, I'm just kidding. No, the support is so important,
Feel the love. Feel the love.
Oh, yes, I feel the love and love, right?
Yeah. It's beautiful. I'm gonna bring everyone to the stage now. Unless we wanted to do like a little break to again talk about what we're doing here.
We can bring everybody up to the stage. While you're bringing everybody up, I just want to remind people, please take a moment. You see the information scrolling at the bottom of the screen, the PayPal information and the Cash App information. We are taking donations to be able to send funds and send resources to people that are living in Jamaica who are rebuilding and restructuring their lives after Hurricane Melissa. So please take a moment, donate. No amount is too small. if you have actual physical items you would like to donate, please feel free to email us. You see the email address that is also the PayPal information. Feel free to email us and we will make arrangements to see about getting those items from you to the people that need them. Welcome to the stage, everybody. You all are so amazing. This has been so good. Jamaica, you're muted.
Wow.
Yes.
While everyone was sharing how they got into poetry, I'm interested to know how you started writing, Kim. And then, I'll share my story as well.
So I started writing as a child, as a little child. So I am the middle child of 3 children. And I know people know the rap that middle children get. So we are often overlooked, which was very much a true part of my story. We often, we've got this older sibling that's there and then the younger sibling. I was the youngest for 10 years. Then my brother came along. So, he took some of my shine. I didn't like it. But I started writing as a child just to get some of the thoughts and feelings that I had. I grew up I was born in Brooklyn. We moved while I was young to New Jersey, and my sister and I were the only Black children in our elementary school. We were the only Black family in the neighborhood. So we were the only Black children in our elementary school for the duration until 6th grade. And that's when another young man moved into the area. But at that point, we moved to East Orange, New Jersey, which was the total other end of the spectrum. So that's all Black. So it became this situation where I was too Black to be white, where I went to elementary school, and I was too white to be Black by the time we moved to a Black area. So I really didn't have community, didn't have belonging. So I started to write my thoughts and my feelings so that I could get them out. I didn't perform poetry until I was in grad school. When I went to undergrad, I got a bachelor's in English because I've always loved words, have always loved words. So I got a bachelor's degree in English. And then when I did my first master's degree in New York, I started performing poetry at the New Eurekan. There were some other places so that was when I started actually getting on the microphone and performing. And I realized that a lot of what I was feeling and had been writing was common to a lot of people. I was sharing about having been sexually assaulted when I was a teenager. I shared about having been a single parent, because at that point I had 4 children. So I shared about being a single parent and the struggles of that. I shared about my relationship stuff. And I developed relationships with older people and with younger people. And it became clear to me that not only was poetry a good way to release, but it was a good way to form community and a good way to form multi-generational community. So it wasn't just people my age or people from my background. So multicultural community, multi-generational community. And it's just been a thing that has been a part of my life ever since. And one of the most important parts of my life, I would say, ever since. So yeah, that's how poetry saved me. Because had I not had poetry and the ability to write out my thoughts and feelings, I can't say that I would have been able to live soundly in a mind that had all of that going on. So yeah.
Spirit strong enough to have sustained the birth of 4 great nations. Thick skin, eyes bright with the gleam of a Serengeti sunrise, mind nimble with the agility of a feline's pounce, Leo, according to the stars. Far more advanced than my years, my tears has shaped the banks of the Euphrates and have etched the miracles of the ancestors into tablets of stone once broken, multiplying them by 4 and adding 2. Remaking the cities that once proudly gave birth to civilization, a proud nation of spirit-led warriors. honoring the presence of our ancestral greatness by name, Shango, Obatala, Yemeya, Eshu, Onyame, Oshun, Oya, spiritual relief for my weary soul. I am borne about on the shoulders and strength of those who trod many a stony path to make my way passable. Midway through the middle of my passage, I find that somehow we have visited this space before, perhaps in another lifetime. One where walking was spiritual and water was cleansing, where words were power and healing, where emotion was actual feeling. Another lifetime, a black queen's lifeline. When a king he was, because he was with me. Matrilineal heritage preserved in the creases of our tainted memories, maintained with a hint of sage. Take me home.
Yes, that's Kimberly. Read
Stuck that in there. You got that.
That was wonderful.
When she said Leo by the start, I see Summer. Like
I was like,
Summer's a Leo.
Come on, Lion.
So this is why we do it, out of love. This is, oh my gosh, I tell you, if I were feeling sad today, and I was, this is the joy that I needed, and it always is. So my name is Carol Grant, by given name Jamaica Green, by reborn name, by rebirth. I started writing poetry, I think like everyone here, as a child. I just would write things. My sisters were all singers and stuff. And when I tried to sing, because I had a deep voice, they would be like, no, Carol, you need to write or you need to talk. And that's where the poetry in me started. So I just write everything that I thought, anything that I thought. My sister Delis bought me my first journal to write my poetry because she heard me and she saw me. But the first presentation I ever did was in the first grade. I was 6 years old, and I had to do a part out of Dirty Tough by Miss Lou. Now, I come from a home where we weren't allowed to speak Patois. Mm-hmm. If my father heard us talking Patois, he'd get really angry. So imagine me learning rain no fall and the food not enough and the pickle not enough, and and it was just a joy. And that's where I found me in that child. And writing poetry was a gift that I shared with no one but myself. And then found my first love, Paul, and then I would share with him. And eventually I was working at American Airlines, and they were doing, I think it was Black History Month program. And a friend of mine said, hey, Carol, I know you write poetry. Would you like to share? And I was like, no, I've never shared anything. And she said, just share one piece. And I shared the one piece, and got a really, great response. And that's how poetry was born. But Jamaica Green was born in the military. They used to call me Jamaica because I used to dance and it just stuck. And then once I started doing the poetry, I was just inspired that this is who I am, the memory of Jamaica and the green, because, the fresh, one of my favorite colors. And in Portland, it's the greenest parish I've ever been to. So, hence the connection. So I'm going to play a little one for you. It's called Forgive Me. And this was inspired by just wanting to be forgiven for an act that I did. And it just, evolved into Forgive Me. This one is called Forgive Me, because forgiveness is the biggest form of self-love. Sometimes I cry in my eyes, sometimes I I cry in my eyes sometimes, sometimes. And this is for the tears that I cry. I cry. This one is for the tears of the women that I made cry. Forgive me. Forgive me, I am growing. Forgive me, I was self-loathing. Forgive me, now I'm knowing. Forgive me. Been fighting demons for so long. These soul snatchers who try to swallow parts of me whole. Fragmented, betrayed, and the heartbreak pains that I caused. Some good karma that I lost. Forgive me. Sometimes I cry in my eyes. Sometimes. Sometimes I cry in my eyes. Sometimes. Sex was my weapon, sex was my shield, sex was my friend and my enemy. Sex was my anchor and my free. Had sexy exes enchanted by my eloquent and artistic, self-imposed sex slavery, sharing secret sweetness. Sex was my language, I spoke it well. And sometimes I cry in my eyes, sometimes. Sometimes I cry in my eyes. Sometimes. This one is for the tears that I cry. I cry. This one is for the tears of the women that I made cry. Forgive me. Fear was my prison, fear was my escape. So afraid of rejection, fear made me disobey. Fear had a hold to me, fear stifled me. Fear wanted me perfect, fear disillusioned me. So afraid of my potential, I would slack off and back off my accomplishments. I was afraid of my greatness. Forgive me. Forgive me, now I'm knowing. Forgive me, I am growing. Wow. You know, I'm just really listening to that piece.
Lovely.
Yes.
Oh my God. Oh my gosh. I just bared my soul, y'all. I just bared my soul. But we're going to wrap up now. Thank you so much for listening. I'm asking my Yaya for another piece, Summer for another piece. Carrie, any words, any piece that you want to share? And then Kim, it's all yours. Thank you.
I do have to run.
Okay.
I did leave a little message, but I just want to say blessings, like such a beautiful evening of sisterhood. I just feel so blessed being in your company, truly. And I so look forward to being able to do this again.
Yes.
Thank you for being here. Thank you so much.
We'll keep in touch. We need to meet by Emma, okay?
Yes,
we'll talk more.
I'll be back in Connecticut in the middle of May.
Okay, we'll talk more.
Okay.
Peace. We love you.
I love you too.
Bye, Summer.
Wow. My Yaya, how you feeling?
Feeling good because I'm right here.
Yes.
I love it. I really love it.
Yes.
Giving thanks. So much to learn, by just listening to each other. So much to learn, so much to realize that we are really bond.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Maya, like you're the glue. You're really, someone that Kim and I look forward to having on the program. I'm like, you're a staple. You need to be on the flyer too because, you make a difference. You help to make the show
Yes.
what it is. With your
Thank
wise eye. I'm
you.
not saying I like wisdom, but with your wise eye and your experience, you know,
Hmm.
yeah, we're grateful. So,
Thank
Antonia, welcome.
you.
Oh, thank you. So, if you wanted to give us another piece, Maya,
Yes, this is I would say my latest poem. I don't remember if I had said this one before to the island, but I'm going to say it again. And yes, give thanks for being a part of the space. Give thanks, love to each and every one. And I call this poem The Power of the X. I just wake one morning, and the X was very upfront in my mind. And I wonder why I think of X? What is X? Why I think of X so hard? It's like say, I wake with a strong feeling of the letter X in my mind. So I went on the phone and I look up what is this X? Does it have some meaning or something? And I was very astonished to see X as a great power symbol, where I'm sure say even now scientists don't even still sure they have the strength and the essence of really what the X is. So I say, all right, I'm going on myself and I say, let me see what me could have did after hearing all this. Let me see what me think about the X. And so me call it the power of the X. It's a Jamaican with little but with talawa. For we are brand with the power of the X. The X, the power of known and unknown. The X, the power of changes and rearranges. The X, the energy of wrong and right. The X, the essence of male and female. Without the head of the skull, it crowned the Rastafarians to the world. This little island where pirates plan to fish has lost their catch by stars and storms that are hard to reckon with. The power of the X on our flag. They thought it was their game, their plan. What a shock. Will they ever overstand the X and the people of X land? What a shock. Will they ever overstand the X and the people of X land? We not simple. Stop there. Wait there. Watch we action. We are the people of X land. Yeah.
what a shock! Love it,
Yes,
Antonia.
thank you.
Antonia, we're just doing a cipher, so whenever you're ready, you can jump in with another piece.
All right, so hold on. All right, so this one is a bit of a sad one. It's for a friend that I wrote for, and I just want to say that it's good to, honor people and to know that sometime you might not know when it's the last that you'll see them, and so treat them well, and when you see them, give your best. And so this one is titled The Last Time. I had a friend I did not know for long. He would sit and talk with me in front of humanities. We would laugh and share deep and personal thoughts. We had a lot to say, a lot of discussions. It was nice to speak to someone so pure, very rare. One day I never knew it would be my last. I remember he saw me walking along and stopped me to check if I was okay. if I was coming along. If there was anything I needed help with, that day we sat and talked for hours till it was dark. Before you went, he turned and said, tomorrow we can finish our discussion. I was inspired and filled, very satisfying to be so free with one's mind and expression as a poet and person. So I went home and I slept well. Next day I waited and no sign of him. I saw a friend of his, hoping they could tell me why as he not passed by. From what little I know of him, he was a man of his words. Plus he always passed by. The friend said they did not see him today. I was a bit sad. I went home and I sent a message to him. No reply. I went on his Facebook page and checked periodically, hoping for any sign. I saw people saying, rest in peace. A flood of emotions came rushing down, deep sadness. I could not eat or sleep properly. Who could tell the last time we spoke was the last time I would see you, hear your voice, your heart, your soul, and your thoughts. There was so much I did not know of you because we met in such a time as this. I sometimes reflect on how you offer to help such a kind and loving soul snatched from us. Is death not cruel? Or is it just the circle of this life's journey? All things begin to come to an end. I am happy I found a friend in you, and it was filled with laughter, joy, happiness, and generosity. To a friend who I lost and seen for the last time before you were taken, may you join the angels when it's time to sing to the soon coming King. Give thanks.
Wow.
I like that you said, to honor people when you can.
Yeah.
Ladies, right here, I just want to let you know that I honor you and I love you. Thank
Same
you.
Thank you.
thing for me.
Same. Thank you.
Yes.
My Yaya, your piece, I felt like I've only been to Jamaica one time. And at that time was whoa. And I feel like your piece kind of just embodied that whole trip. And wait there, hold on there, wait there. Yes. So beautiful. I love your poetry. I love your words. And I've been hearing
Thank
about
you.
you for a long time. So I honor you. Thank you. And Antonia, I know that
Nice meeting you.
good to meet you too. Antonia, I know that you said that that's a sad piece, but I found joy in it. I found the joy of the time that you spent with the person that you met. And it reminds me of, I meet sometimes, well, I used to meet so many different people along the way in New York. And here I do still meet people because I do a lot of different work and advocacy. But you're right. When you meet people and you get to connect with them and laugh with them and share with them and sometimes share sad things with them, and you get to hear their heart and maybe in a way where other people won't and don't. It's just the fact that you get to, it's best to, what's that saying? It's good to live and love than to not have loved, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm probably not saying that right. It's a paraphrase,
It's
but
better to
love
have
is
loved
love.
and lost than
Yeah.
never to have loved at all.
Exactly. Thank you. That is what that reminds me of. And I feel like
Yeah.
that is just another extension of love. And so it brings me joy and happiness and reminds me to, connect with the people that I'm meeting and not get too busy, right, to do
Mm-hmm.
that. There's such beauty in these types of moments.
Yes. And
Yeah.
with that said, all right, go ahead, Kim.
Oh no, I was just gonna say so definitely the honoring people while you can, because you don't know if it's the last time. I think the other piece that I heard was this awareness of how we are presenting ourselves to the world, because you don't know if it's the last time people are going to encounter you. So what do you want people to remember about you. Your memory of him is this person with
Yeah.
thoughts and loving and gentle and this wonderful individual, because that's how he chose to show up in the world. And I think that we always need to bear about in our minds, yes, this might be the last time that I see you, but it might be the last time you see me.
You see me.
So how do I want to be remembered? How do I want, what is the last thing I want people to remember about me? How do I want people to have experienced me if it's their last time experiencing me? So that's the part that I heard in that poem too. So thank you so much for that. Yeah, it's got me thinking, got me really, really thinking. I might need to sit down and write tonight to that. Yeah.
But remember, write in tomorrow as well, because that's a space that you're free to just come and express yourself, and
I got
you know,
prompts for you. I
yeah.
got
All
prompts for
right,
you.
all right. You got prompts. Trust me,
Prompts
those
for you.
prompts are some deep prompts.
I will
But
be trying.
before we wrap up, Carrie Grace, was there anything else that you wanted to share with us? And
You know, two things. One, I will be joining. So I was going to ask you to please speak about it before we go. And then
Okay.
I did one of your prompts about giving permission the other night. And I think I just wanted to share a little bit of it because it's a little long, so I won't go the whole way.
Absolutely.
Okay. I give myself permission to feel, to cry, to forgive, to laugh again, to dance in the rain, to grieve beyond the pain, to pursue love again, to touch, to hug, to experience more love, more life, more peace, to express more love, more life, more peace, to want more love, more life, more peace, to gain, to be gentle with myself, to be soft, to be safe, to be nurturing, to be nurtured, to be cared for, to be touched, to be pleased without guilt, to create in abundance and then please without guilt. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to
Beautiful.
woo!
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Permission granted, honey.
Beautiful.
thank you. Thank you for letting us share.
Yes, that was beautiful.
See what your prompts, your mind is doing to everybody else. You did
Absolutely.
this.
You did
You
this.
know,
You set the
so
stage.
it is it's an initiative that I have called Right Here, Right Now. And one of the pieces of programming is called Write In. So once a month, and it's usually the day after we do this. So it's usually the third Saturday of the month. But once a month for 90 minutes, we have writing prompts, and people are just invited to come into the space and sit and write. And the cost for admission is a donation. You can donate as little as 50 cents, $1. You can go as high as $20 or whatever you choose. But I didn't want it to be restrictive so that people couldn't attend. I've come to realize over the past few years, one of the things that I am gifted to do is walk with people where they are and meet people where they are to help them get from where they are to where it is they desire to be. Whether it's walking with and working with people and writing a book, and from concept to actual publication, or if it's walking with and working with people in designing a self-care regimen so that they are able to take care of themselves, or if it's defining themselves, or if it's just the realization of who we are and why we're here. So all of those different things come into play in my putting together these prompts. The prompts most often are introspective. So they are designed so that people get to sit with a part of themselves that they might not just automatically consider in their everyday life. So I sit with the prompts, and most times, honestly, the prompts come together because they're things that I need to sit with for me. So I don't ever ask people to do what I am not willing to do. So I'm not going to tell you to do something I'm not willing to do myself. So any of the prompts that are given in the write-in, I write while everybody else is writing. A lot of times, because I'm the one that created the prompts, it's my second time interacting with the prompt because I had to engage with it when I designed it in the first place. And usually some part of the write-in is a video of a poet doing a poem that engages the prompts in some way. It engages what the prompt is encouraging us to do in some way. So one of the things that I did for National Poetry Writing Month was I created a collection of 30 prompts that people have access to be able to purchase so that they can then, whatever order they want to do them in, they can take the prompts, do them in whatever order, but there are 30 prompts, so there's enough for one for each day. I've created a collection of 52 prompts, and that one, I haven't released it yet, but I will be releasing that. So that one is designed for people to have a prompt that they can engage for each week of the year, because the year is 52 weeks. So yeah, it's something that just this experience of introspection and exploring oneself and defining oneself and understanding oneself, I've come to realize that that is something that is part of my power, and it's something that is part of my purpose. So I enjoy putting those together and doing that work. So thank you both for having been a part of the write-in in the past and for coming to future write-ins as well. And on that note, so I'm going to say thank you to the people that have watched. We've had people popping in and out throughout the entire time we've been here. And for those who watched this after the live recording, thank you for deciding to sit and watch our recording. Thank you for being a part of a moment that's very special to us and that is very meaningful to us, and a part of time that we want to be a part of an important history. We want to make sure that we are showing up in history the way that we desire to be remembered. So this is part of the legacy that we desire to leave. Again, I encourage you to donate. The link is scrolling at the bottom. The information to donate is scrolling at the bottom. Go ahead, Jamaica.
Yeah, I just wanted to, give honor, pay honor to some of the authors and the writers and the poets before us, because, without them, Phyllis Wheatley, we probably wouldn't have much of a voice. So if you hear a name, or if you don't hear a name and you want to throw it out there, please do. But these are some of the people who inspired me. Of course, Marcus Garvey. I don't know if you know that Marcus Garvey was an avid poet, avid writer, but he, had some really controversial and inspiring poetry. So Marcus Garvey, Miss Lou, Maya Angelou, Langston Hughes, Muta Baruka, Lyndon Kwesi Johnson, Claude McKay, Gil Scott Heron, and the list goes on. So if you have someone that you just like to shout out,
gotta shout out Toni Morrison. Gotta shout out Nikki Giovanni. Nikki Giovanni was a friend of mine. And I have work that I have to do because of Nikki Giovanni. She called me Dr. McCrae. And I'm like, don't do that to me. I got to go and get a doctorate now. But she called me Dr. McCrae. So Nikki Giovanni, Toni Morrison. I mean, yes, there's so many. Lucille Clifton, come celebrate with me that every day something has tried to kill me and has failed. So many poets. Yes.
Jessica Kier Moore is one that she was one of the poets that I'm talking about. And so I shout out my recent poets that I get to come up with and experience graphics, Tyrant Graphics. Oh my gosh, Fahid, Most Def. I remember getting to see him before he was Most Def. And I love him. Talib,
Saul Williams.
Saul
We saw him
Williams,
before he had his
Yes.
breakthrough.
absolutely, and you know Ainsley.
Ainsley.
Yes. Ainsley
Ainsley
Burroughs. Yes.
Burroughs, yes, and I
The
miss
Hot
him.
Nine.
To Hut Nine. That was like the whole. That was that crew.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I could go on. So you're right, and I thank the Creator for giving us the power of speech, the written word, and you know I'm just reminded of the Bible before there was, right? There was the Word. And the Word was God, and the Word was with God. And so we are a manifestation of that Word, and I am grateful for it. And I want to just
Yes.
say, I was in a state. I've been in a state all week, but today I was like, I don't know if I could do this. And I'm so grateful that you, like I said, have given us the platform, but that Yaya, Antonia, Summer, Carol, you know, you guys, you ladies have come forward, and it's because of your bravery, it's because of your courage, it's because of your knowledge, and because of your action that I'm here. So give thanks.
Give thanks.
Thanks to for
Thank you,
everything.
everyone. We'll see you again
Thank
next
you.
month. And remember, write in tomorrow. Write in.
Right
How do they
on.
get? How do they get? Right on. How do they get in?
So the link is somewhere in the chats. If you go through the chat information, you will see the link to be able to get into the write-in. I just want to shout out Mahogany Brown. Cannot forget Mahogany Brown, one of the longest running host of the New Eurekan, and Miguel Algarin, who was the founder of the New Eurekan. Rest in peace to a powerful poet. So yeah, I will stop there because could go on and on and on and on. But absolutely feel welcome to come and join us in the write-in tomorrow evening. And the link that is on the screen is the link to be able to get into the 30-day writing journey, journey of 30 days of 30 days of joy writing. And it's a play on joy riding, you know, people driving a fast car, joy ride. Yeah, anyway. So thank you all for being here. Peace and love and good night. We will see you next month, the third Friday of the month. Peace and love.
Right. And for that month, we have Child's Month. So we're hoping to get some of the children involved, but we also want to celebrate mothers again because it's Mother's
Absolutely. Mother's Day. Yes.
Yeah.
Taking a
So we
picture.
meet and part to meet again. We are no stranger, ever is, never will be.
Yes.
Love it. Thank
Peace
you.
and love, everyone.
Peace
Peace
and
and
love.
love. Grace and peace, y'all.
Peace and love.